Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vice Mayor Brandon Johnson. Here with me today is Councilmember Bryan Frye.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Always dressed better than me.
Well, I was out a couple of days this week, so I felt like I had to dress up and wear the suit today.
Should have wore mine.
It felt good to get out of the comfy clothes and get back in the suit.
Well, it's nice that it's not so windy today and it's the right temperature.
Yeah, no, spring is here and people are outside doing yard work and getting things cleaned up. It's always a good sign. So.
Yep. And I guess we should tell folks, we did vote for this weather for today on purpose.
That's right.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you can thank us for this one.
So today we just wanted to talk. About a week ago, Bryan and I wrote an op-ed to the Wichita Eagle about the riverfront and the future of it, and again, making sure that we re-engage the community on this process.
Yeah, as a reminder, late 2019, early 2020, the Riverfront Legacy Master Group was working on a plan, and they were very active, doing a lot of community engagement, getting opinions about what should happen to the riverfront, and then the pandemic hit, and couldn't do any of the discussions anymore. In fact, they never even brought a plan or presentation to the city council. It just stopped.
Yeah, the pandemic hit right before that was supposed to happen. I believe it was supposed to be a workshop at the end of March, and everyone remembers we got back from DC and everything stopped.
Yeah.
And I really want to be clear that no decision has been made. I think there was some confusion because I was a council member as a rep for the council on that group, but we were just there in an oversight position because the council contributed some money towards that, as did the county.
Yep.
But just because I was on that group does not mean the city council ever received this plan.
True, and I went to most of those presentations, and you did a fantastic job representing the council, and you were very clear that we weren't ready to make any decisions, that we needed to continue to hear from the public, because there are some very passionate people on both sides of the issue, opposing views on the future of the riverfront and the structures that are there on the riverbank. And so there was a lot of discussion. Thousands of people came to those forums and those community events, and we were really churning things along. And then obviously the pandemic hit. And since then, we've not had any activity at Century 2 or the convention center. The whole business model is changing right before our eyes. What we were thinking back in 19 as it relates to the future of conventions and performing arts, that's turned over. That's topsy-turvy now.
Yeah.
And we really don't know what's going to be like going forward. And so as our community reopens, we've got to reevaluate where things are and what we should do going forward. Do we have the right structures, the right facilities in place, or do there need to be changes? And that's what the whole group was working on and studying. And obviously when the world changed overnight or over the course of the last year, we got to figure out what we have to do for sustained success.
Right, and a lot of that, working with our community partners, is restarting this engagement process, and then reevaluating what was the Riverfront plan. Is that going to change in any way? I think that our, I hate saying new normal, but our new normal will shift that quite a bit. And then, re-engaging the public. I think the one clear message that was there from either side was something needs to happen. And I think that's the driving factor going forward in engagement, is we want to do something, and now the public will be able to weigh in on more of what that actually looks like.
Yeah, and again, the facilities and the riverbank has treated us very well for the years that we've had them. But we know our community's changing. We know industry's changing. Desires and wants of people who move to our city or who want to take up residence in our city have changed. It's a very competitive world out there, and as people are making their choices on where they want to live, we have to continue to evolve with them.
Yeah.
And we have to decide, what do we want to be, what do we want to look like, what amenities and quality of life do we have for our citizens and those people that we want to recruit here. And the riverfront's got to be a very important part of that.
Yeah.
It's exciting. And moving forward, we have to work together on that vision. We know there are passionate people on both sides, thousands of people that participated.
Yeah.
And we need to continue to listen to them and hear them and thinking about the strategies and what we do going forward. But we need to restart that conversation.
Yeah.
we've lost a year, so to speak.
Yeah, we have it, and as we restart that conversation, I think all of our challenge, because I always hear you talk about this, is to be bold. I mean, we don't need to settle as a city. So whatever the final plan is that will be voter approved,
Yeah.
it will go out to a public vote. Whatever that final plan is, my hope and push is that it is bold and that Wichita isn't settling and that we are taking steps to be a leader in this region. We continue to hear about peer cities. But the question is now, what is Wichita going to do? And we need to take those steps to make Wichita that leader.
And I think Wichita has made some of those steps recently, and we need to look at those as examples of it's okay to dream big
Yeah.
and want better things, not only for ourselves, but for our children and our grandchildren. You go back and you look at the new airport. I don't think anybody would like to go back to the old way it used to be.
Oh, no.
Right? Same with our new library and our new Riverfront Stadium. Folks haven't been able to go to an event there yet, but once they do, I think they're going to be wowed and say, why did we wait so long? And I think the opportunity with the East Bank, whether it's taking the existing facilities and modernizing them like Charles Koch Arena was done, or is it something new or something totally different, we owe it to ourselves, to our community, to decide what do we want to go and get after it.
Yeah.
We've waited too long, and we need to start making some plans because, again, it's very competitive out there, and Wichita's in a battle.
Yeah.
So.
And just to add to the discussion, I know I always like to make this point, is that the council hasn't made any decisions
Right.
on the two facilities that have probably caused the most passion on both sides, the Century 2 facility and the old library. And in fact, the council did pledge, I think it's policy 28, to have a public vote for the future of those. So any future use, demolition, sale of either Century 2 or the old library, council policy is dictating that be a public vote. And the city council approved $2.5 million over the next decade to ensure maintenance and upgrades occur at those facilities. So with that, that's again showing that we're not saying we're demoing today.
Right.
What we're doing is trying to make sure that the public has time to input on the facilities, that we're still getting the maximum use out of those, and especially in this changing environment. And we're committed to that. And again, put it in council policy to make sure we get out for a public vote.
Yeah, one of the things that citizens, our neighbors, have told us time and time again is take better care of the things that we have. And so part of that $2.5 million over the next 10 years is to make sure that those facilities, if we're going to keep them operating, then they need to be maintained. And that's what we dedicated to do. In fact, the next step that we've got right now is a professional management RFP out there to manage the operations of Century 2 and the Convention Center. We've not done that before. We've always done it with existing staff, and as that business model changes, so do the talent level we need to run those.
Yeah.
And so we put out an RFP. Currently, we're using the old library site right now as vaccination for COVID.
Yeah.
And I think that's been wonderful because as more people are seeing that building, it's created talking points and discussion about maybe there's some other uses for it. It's pretty amazing when you go in there and there's no bookcases or shelves anymore and you're seeing this wide open space. Like, maybe there's something else here that we could do with it.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of thing that we need to continue is have those discussions, have those talks, and make sure that what we're doing is in the best interest of the city. And again, nothing's been decided, but we need to continue to hear ideas and again, dream big, think big.
Yeah, and on that, always a push. Go get your vaccine if you haven't got one yet. But when you go to the library, think about some ideas.
Yeah.
We are still all ears on ideas from the community. We want to hear. So if you're in there and you begin to think about things, that all can add into the discussion that we want to have with the community about all those facilities and the future of the riverfront.
Absolutely. The river is such a great asset for our city, and making better use of it and allowing more people to engage with it. That's what we need to be talking about.
Yeah.
And how do we do that to the best potential for the city? And that's the discussion we need to hear from folks. So continue to reach out to myself, to you, to any of the council members as we continue to start these discussions over again and get further along. And again, you have our promise that there's not going to be any decision until there's an opportunity for the public to weigh in on it.
Yep.
So
public weigh in, public vote.
Yep, absolutely. Well, again, always enjoy working with you, and that was fun drafting that letter together.
Yeah.
I know we had a lot of give and take on it, but at the end of the day, we agreed on the merits of it.
Yep.
And so that's what it's about, working together. So please reach out to us, and thanks for watching.